No, I think she joins from home or joins downstairs.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing.
streaming. Thank you. Opening announcements, members, you have received them via email. Members, you'll be aware that there was a special council meeting this afternoon at 12 noon in relation to the current strike action by Unite. Unfortunately, due to technical difficulties, the meeting had to be abandoned before reaching a conclusion. If members are in agreement, rather than reconvening the special council meeting, I would propose that we pick up this matter under the report item of 9.3 on tonight's agenda. Members, are we agreed? Agreed. Thank you. Agenda item 1, apologies. Any apologies? Councillor Duffy.
Hey, Councillor Bruno Hawhey, Councillor Kevin Savage and Councillor Nelson will be along shortly.
Duly noted. And Councillor Baxter.
Councillor McElrath might be in later, but it'll be via Zoom.
Thank you. Okay, move on to agenda item 2. Can I seek a proposal and seconder that the minutes of the council meeting held on the 28th of March be taken as read and approved as a correct record? You all agreed? Alderman Twyble. Sorry, wrong one. Go ahead.
Just happy to propose.
And can we get a seconder? Second by Alderman Kennedy. You all agreed? Great. Okay. Agenda item 3, declarations of interest. Happy to take these from the floor now or as we come across them. Okay. Councillor Nicholson, you looking to come in now or? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Lord Mayor. And it was just something that was on the minutes of the last council meeting, and it's just something it was clarified for me after the meeting. I had said that the minister hadn't replied to your letter in relation to the energy task force, but she had. I found out later on from your office that she had. But look, I just want that recorded. But also, Lord Mayor, if I'm just inquiring from those minutes, did you send the second letter in relation to the 300k to see if there's to encourage her to really find a way if she can to have that money used by an extended energy fuel payment scheme? That maybe it's in the process, Lord. I can tell by your face, Lord Mayor, that you haven't signed it yet. So obviously it's in the process. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, it has been signed and it has been sent, Councillor. Okay, members, agenda item 4, committee minutes. Can I seek a proposal and seconder that the minutes of the Environmental Services Committee held on the 5th of April be taken as read and approved as a correct record? We all agreed? Agreed. Alderman Kennedy proposed. And Councillor Greenfield.
Happy to second, Lord Mayor.
Thank you. And Councillor McLaren, go ahead.
We're going to freeze, Lord Mayor. Yes, Lord Mayor, thank you for allowing me in. And it was just to make a comment under ES 37/2022, the update on the Native Wildflower Road Verge pilot project. And I know that's a wee bit of a mouthful, but it's good, Lord Mayor, that we're seeing progress on this at what appears to be multiple sites across the borough. So it's just to say the best of thanks to all the officers involved, and it is a positive, good news story. Thanks, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Okay, and moving on to agenda item 4.2, can I seek a proposal and seconder that the minutes of the Planning and Regulatory Service Committee held on the 6th of April 2022 be taken as read and approved as a correct record? Councillor Lavery, you're the chair.
Good Lord Mayor, thank you. Yes, happy to propose.
And Councillor Nicholson, you're the vice chair.
Second.
And second by Councillor Nicholson. Are we all agreed? All agreed. Thank you, members. Moving on to agenda item 4.3. I seek a proposal and seconder the minutes of the Leisure and Community Service Committee held on the 11th of April 2022 be taken as read and approved as a correct record. Councillor McNally, you're the chair of the committee at that time. Okay, can I get two members who were present at the Leisure and Community Services to propose and second? Councillor Tinsley, you proposing?
Happy to propose, but I want to raise. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tinsley. Councillor Flaherty, you happy to second? Okay, no problem. Thank you, members. I'm going to bring in Councillor Flaherty to speak and then Councillor Tinsley.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Look, I'll be very brief. It's regarding LCS 48/2022, the summer scheme for children with disabilities. I did speak. I think my colleague, Councillor Tinsley, spoke also on this. But I just wanted to finally say, just pass on my thanks to Gillian. There was a number of queries I had, and they were answered first thing. I think I got an email later on that evening, but they were answered and clarified fully the next day. So please pass on my thanks for the due diligence there. It is a very, very important scheme. And I think we're all in agreement that evening that it really needs to be, the maximum possible needs to be made out of it. So we're all in agreement with that and happy enough with that. So I just wanted to point that out for Ms. Stewart. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Flaherty. Councillor Tinsley.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Lord Mayor, it's just something that was brought to my attention from someone when I was on my way over to tonight's meeting, and it's actually a very distressing point with regards to a constituent who'd had a 4-month baby in the baby pool. They're just at the weekend. The child actually the temperature of the pool has been reduced dramatically, is what the information I've been given, and the child's leg was blue and was informed that they had to take it to the shower to get it warmed up. Such was the nature of the child's, how distressed it was. But why I'm raising it at tonight's meeting is under leisure services is because management at the leisure centre actually informed them that it was a decision made by council to reduce the water temperature in the pool. And I very much doubt, because I wouldn't miss this, but I certainly was not one of that was privy to that decision being made. So what I'm asking for tonight is for that to be reviewed as to what the temperature was, when it was reduced, and what the temperature it has been reduced to. If I'd have received this earlier, I would have spoken to Paul and the management team, but I'm just actually very upset about it and only found out on the way over here to the meeting. Now, my understanding is that the temperature is supposed to be 29 degrees. I stand to be corrected on that, but certainly this lady, 4-month-old baby, it's not what the temperature it should be. So if we could have someone to look into that for us and get back, and I'm sure I'm not the only councillor would like to be updated on that. And just on another point as well, I've raised this on numerous occasions, and I don't know what it's going to take to this actually be sorted out. But I went into the leisure centre myself on Saturday afternoon. Now, to be fair, I only seen one, but I am sick of my phone ringing being told that staff are not wearing their tops, they're wearing GAA tops. Totally unacceptable. I know that when it's raised by HR, they do something about it, but we don't seem to be getting a grip on this. And I went in on Saturday afternoon and I saw them. I saw staff wearing GAA tops, not shorts, tops. And they were in the council, they were in the pool. So again, could I ask, I don't know whether HR is here or who, but we need to get a grip on this because I'm fed up getting phone calls about it. And I know I'm not the only one getting them. And the same stands for any other football tops, but I am not getting that. I'm just getting GAA tops. So, Lord Mayor, I will leave whoever wants to come back to the council with regards to the most important issue there, the temperature of the water. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Tinsley. I know Councillor Toman had actually asked for your first item there to be in any other relevant business, but he must have spoke to council officers. So I know he's looking in here. So I'm going to bring in Councillor Toman. I'm assuming he's looking to speak on the same issue. Go ahead, Councillor Toman. And members, just be aware that because it is such a profile one, that we are in committee minutes. Okay, so can we keep to committee minutes? Councillor Toman, go ahead.
Thanks, Lord Mayor. And yes, the same individual I contacted himself, and I'm sure a number of other councillors as well. I did speak to Paul earlier this afternoon. The issue has been resolved, and Paul has been in contact with the individual, and a goodwill gesture has been provided. So Paul has given me that update, and perhaps, Lord Mayor, if you can ask Paul to share that with all councillors, just to provide reassurance that this will not happen again, or if it does, that the information can be provided to the councillors to inform them. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to bring in Jonathan for an update on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Tinsley, for your question. Yeah, a number of members had been on earlier on today in relation to this matter. And firstly, we apologise to the gentleman and his family in question in relation to this service that they experienced at South Lakes. We can confirm that it was the heating in relation to the plant had tripped on the evening of Saturday, and that the temperature had dropped by 1.5 degrees. The pool does typically run at 29.7 degrees, and it had dropped by 1.5 degrees. The pool plant team were brought back in again, and the temperature of the water by this morning was brought back up to its operating temperature of 29.7. And indeed, Paul Coleman, the centre manager, had been in contact and has been in contact with the gentleman in question. So that's just by way of an update, members.
Bring it back in, Mr. Tinsley. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and I really appreciate that from everybody. It wasn't so much that one particular case, it was more the fact that management were sending out the signal that we're under cost savings, and that initially they were told that there was a heater broken, but then when they were actually, I don't know who it was they were actually speaking to, but that they were then told that it was a cost saving exercise, and that that's the reason why the council had made that decision. So that's why Lord Mayor, through the minutes of leisure services, I was raising it at tonight's meeting. But I appreciate that that's now business as normal again, and we're back to on target again. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Tinsley, and thank you for raising it. Because I worked in the swimming pool myself many moons ago, and I know we tested the chlorine, we tested for the temperature, and if it was at that low temperature, the club pool should have been closed. I'm going to bring in Councillor Nicholson.
Thanks, Lord Mayor. And like yourself, I worked in the leisure centre too, and the temperature and the chlorine levels was checked at a very regular basis. So hopefully that young child hasn't, and will recover from that terrible situation. But look, Lord Mayor, the point I want to raise is LCS 51. It's a point of clarification, and it's regarding the health and recreation facilities openings for the Queen's Jubilee. Now, I just want a clarification. Now, as I understand that we close our facilities on public and bank holidays, not them all, obviously, but I suppose my question is, and a few folk have brought it to my attention, that the general consensus for this was a 4-day long, the bank holiday on the Monday, and Friday was made as this exceptional sort of public holiday. and so people can have a 4-day-long celebration for, you know, the Queen's Jubilee, which is a massive milestone in any monarch's reign. So look, my question is the leisure centres, or are they closed on the Friday and the Monday, or is the proposal to have them open on the Friday? But I suppose if they are, I would make a proposal that they should close the Friday and have the 4-day celebratory weekend like anybody else within the borough, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Nicholson. I'm going to bring in Jonathan here to give us an update.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Nicholson, for your query. Yeah, the table within the report that you refer to does highlight reduced hours on the Thursday and Friday, and that's for the Tier 1 and the Tier 2 pools, as well as outdoor leisure facilities as well, and then into the weekend being the 4th and 5th operating as normal. Certainly, we as officers are led by members in relation to this matter, and I'm happy to either provide a further report back to the May Committee or certainly take members' guidance here this evening. But certainly in relation to the Thursday and the Friday being the 2nd and the 3rd of June, we were operating on reduced hours, probably in the understanding that, as you quite correctly said, is a 4-day weekend in theory, and potentially the services would be of value to residents, but certainly happy to take members' direction on this one.
Thank you very much. Alderman, Councillor Nicholson, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Lord Mayor, and thanks, Jonathan. And I fully understand your. I thought that was my understanding of it. I just wanted the clarification. But Lord Mayor, I suppose in reality, from my personal opinion, you know, for what this is, I think that we should close on the Friday and the Monday and make it the 4-day celebratory weekend that was supposed to be, you know, for this occasion, and give our staff and all in those facilities the chance to actually, you know, be part of the celebrations, Lord Mayor. So I'm happy to make that a proposal tonight, you know, for consideration by the council.
Yeah, many thanks, Councillor. Alderman Spears, you on the same subject? Go ahead.
Yes, Lord Mayor, Councillor Nicholson has made a proposal, and I have had a number of contacts from various members of staff in relation to this issue, and I certainly have pleasure in seconding that proposal.
Yeah, thank you very much. Councillor McLinden, you were next. Do you want to speak on this, or is it different subject?
Separate issue, Lord Mayor.
No problem. Councillor Cosby, you're next. Are you on the same subject, or are you different? Something different? Councillor Baxter.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And I do want to speak on a different subject, but just on the point that Councillor Nicholson's made, it's my understanding the bank holiday is actually the Thursday and the Friday. Maybe we need to do a wee bit more work around that, maybe before we make the. So I think the end of the May bank holiday was brought forward to the Thursday, and then the actual bank holiday is on the Friday. I don't think the Monday's a bank holiday. Because we have a council meeting that night. If we could maybe check that out. And I want to come back on another issue, but I'll come back, Lord Mayor, if that's okay.
Yeah, I'll bring you back in because there's a few other speakers. I think they look on the same one if you want to hit your green button there. Councillor Hanlon, I think it was next. Same issue? Or
yeah, well, it's a similar vein, but not the same. In fact, unlike Councillor Nicholson, I've been contacted by people expressing a view that we shouldn't have our leisure facilities closed on bank holidays. For example, our swimming pools and then soft play. Okay, whenever we get in the summer months, whenever you have good weather, that's all well and good. There's other things that people can be doing outside. But in relation to, especially for parents, the use of swimming pools and soft play facilities on bank holidays, we're missing a trick. And I would ask that a report is brought back to see, if we could investigate the possibility of having our facilities open on bank holidays. And I'm even aware that in some other councils, areas such as recycling centres are open because they're so busy on Mondays, on the bank holiday Mondays. So look, maybe if that could be looked at and brought back in due course.
I'm trying to work out what side of the car you're in there, Councillor.
Parked, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Duffy.
Yes, thank you, Lord Mayor. And I would just wait and see what Councillor Baxter had said, whether it's closed Monday or Friday, but I would go along with Councillor O'Hanlon if he's making that a proposal.
Lord Mayor, my issues is a separate issue. My issues in relation to leisure facilities on a general basis.
Thank you for your clarity, Councillor. We'll come back.
I will wait to see what Councillor Baxter, what to come back and say, whether the Monday was a bank holiday or whether that's sorted out first, Chair, and then we'll come back.
Okay, members, just to clarify that the Spring Bank holiday is the Thursday, the 2nd of June, 2022. The Platinum Jubilee Bank holiday is Friday, the 3rd of June, 2022, just for clarity. So, do you want to go back to yourself, Councillor Nicholson? Do you want to clarify your dates?
Yep, Lord Mayor, thank you for the clarity. So just, it's the Thursday and the Friday. Right, okay. And they're both public, one's bank and one's public, is that it? Both bank, right. Well, my proposal, Lord Mayor, in sort of the ethos of the idea of the extended weekend is that the centre should be closed on the Friday to extend the weekend. No, well, the Monday's not a bank holiday, I've been told, so. And the Thursday, yeah, sorry, yeah.
Sorry, just Lord Mayor, just for clarity, on other bank holiday weekends, where the bank holiday lands on a Monday, we don't close on the Saturday.
Don't close on the bank holiday either.
I'm going to bring in Jonathan here to clarify things, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And I think maybe some of the queries can be answered in the appendix that was as part of the committee report, because essentially the appendix that was as part of the committee report essentially set out up until the end of 2023 all the bank holidays and all the statutory holidays in terms of the reduced hours. So, for example, the early bank holiday and the late bank holiday, both in terms of May, we do operate on reduced hours, 9 to 5 on those particular bank holidays. So, in essence, in relation to the proposal that was in the original report for the Thursday and Friday, was that we would operate on reduced hours, 9 to 7 in our swimming pools, and then 9 to 5 in our other tier 2 sort of dry sites. And then Saturday and Sunday, we would be back to normal operating hours. That was the proposal within essentially the report. But Appendix 2 to the report essentially set out to members what had previously been agreed by Council in relation to bank holidays, and that we would open on bank holidays, but it would be on a reduced hours, i.e. 9 to 5. And maybe that provides some clarification to members.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. I'm going to bring in Councillor Baxter.
Thank you for letting me in on this, Lord Mayor. And I think there's quite a bit of confusion here of actually to what's to happen. And I think, given that we're only in April, could we give even delegated authority to the committee and bring a paper back to committee to discuss it and go through all the complexities of what actually we're discussing here? Because if we're closing Friday and opening again Saturday, Sunday, and closing again Monday, and it's just a wee bit slapdash, the whole thing, if you ask me. And I think we need to discuss it at committee and go through it properly in a proper paper. And we could give the committee delegated authority because of time constraints. I'd make that a proposal because I think that's the most prudent way forward.
Just to clarify, the swim will be open on the Monday. It's just the Thursday, Friday. Monday's not included in it. Councillor Nicholson.
Declan's on the screen, just me. There I'm right. Okay. Look, yeah. Look, Lord Mayor, I think I do find myself in a precarious situation. I'm agreeing with Councillor Baxter that there's something I thought was quite simple has turned into a real mind-boggling scenario. But look, no, look. My point was he thought this was a special, one-off. Occasion where there was a public holiday declared for the to be the celebratory weekend, if you like, and I think that all people should be able to avail of that, including our centre staff. But look, I'm happy that to allow you to go back to the committee and give the committee delegated authority to deal with it. And because I'm not on that committee, and I wish them well with it, and hopefully they'll come out with the right decision. So thank you, Lord Mayor. I'm happy to second Councillor Baxter's proposal. But moving on, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Nicholson, you're not making this easy for me this evening. So what we have is now, are you seconding then Councillor Baxter's proposal and withdrawing your own? Right. Okay, thank you very much. And are we all agreed, members? Agreed, thank you. Okay. Okay, Councillor O'Hanlon, are you happy enough that we bring that report back in due course? He's away. Okay. Councillor Cosby, going to bring you in.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I'm glad we got out of that unnecessary handling there about the dates, but there you go. Lord Mayor, it's LCS 54, and it is just to check to see if on that issue, if we have received a response from the Department of Justice in relation to the letter that was sent from this council back in January regarding knife crime and looking at trying to see if there are ways that we can help reduce that or get knives off the street. And just to check to see if we've had any correspondence. If not, then I'm happy to propose that we do send a follow-up letter to the department and for a response of some description. So I'm happy to propose that. Thank you.
We'll double check on that one, Councillor Cosby, and if there hasn't been one, we will indeed. I'll second your proposal and we'll send a letter back out. Councillor McAlinden, go ahead.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Yes, same item, LCS 54. Lord Mayor, remember last year there was numerous incidents of antisocial behaviour in all our parks, Lurgan Park and I suppose Oxford Island. And all I'm looking to know, is there any plans, the long summer evenings are approaching, is there any plans in place to have the private security firms again to patrol those areas? I know at the minute at Oxford Island numbers are unprecedented and this is only we're approaching May, so I'm just looking at an update on the private security firms for all our parks. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McAlinden. I'm going to bring in Jonathan on this one. Sorry, wrong person. I'm going to bring in Seamus on this one.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I think with regards to antisocial behaviour, it'd probably be better to bring through a report through May committee, an update on terms of the programme of managing antisocial behaviour across the summer months. And if there's additional points that members wish to add, we can add the detail at that point in time.
Thanks, Seamus. Thanks, Seamus.
Thank you, Councillor McAlinden. Councillor Baxter, go ahead.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I don't want to prolong this any longer. I realise we're only still in committee minutes. But Councillor Tinsley did raise a point in terms of uniform in the leisure centre, and I think it's a very important thing. And I think maybe we actually maybe could get some sort of an answer tonight. I raised this, and it's been raised before on several occasions by some of our party members. Indeed, I remember raising it with Mark Parkinson the way at the start. Now, it's not about, I'm not talking specifically about GAA or whatever. I'm talking about any football tops or anything that isn't, you know, whether it be Northern Ireland tops, Republic of Ireland, Rangers, Celtic, whatever that may be, GAA or whatever. We have a uniform policy. I would like to think we have a uniform policy in the leisure centre. And because it's been raised before on several occasions, my concern is either the policy is not being enforced or it's being ignored. Now, if this was in private business and there's a uniform policy and it wasn't adhered to, you get one chance. And the second time you'll be told to go home and change. So, you know, is there anyone here tonight on the meeting, whether it be remotely or in the chamber, that can answer the question in terms of uniform policy? Is there one? Is it being adhered to? Is it enforced? Or is it simply being ignored? Because it's a very serious issue. And, you know, Councillor Tinsley doesn't want to be getting phone calls about it. I certainly don't want to be getting phone calls about it. Something very simple that can be fixed very, very easily. Whether that be shorts or socks or tops or hats or shoes or whatever. It needs to stop. And actually, you know, it wouldn't be hard to stick an email out to staff tonight to say, desist immediately, because it wouldn't happen in private business under any circumstances. And this has been rumbling on now since the leisure centre opened. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. I'm going to bring in Jonathan on this one.
Thank you, Chair. And again, thank you, Councillor Tinsley and Councillor Baxter for your question in relation to that. And yes, there is a uniform policy. I'll be more than happy to pick it up with the centre manager tomorrow, personally myself, to ensure that the communication goes out to all staff right across leisure, across all of our facilities, to ensure that the appropriate dress code is maintained in accordance with the policy. Any further matters, I'll take them up with members directly.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, members. There's no more hands up. Moving on to agenda item 4.4. Can I seek a proposer and seconder the minutes of the Economic Development and Regeneration Committee held on the 12th of April 2022 be taken as read and approved as a correct record. Councillor McAlinden, you're the chair.
So proposed, Lord Mayor.
So seconded, Lord Mayor. Thank you very much, members. Councillor Savage, go ahead.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. just in reference to EDR 50, where we had talked about the Food Heartland attending the local shows, the agri shows, Armagh and Lurgan show. And just want to know what update is on that, and has communication started with the local show organisers? I could have an answer for that from the officer, please.
Lord Mayor, I'm happy to take that question. Councillor Savage, I know it was the view of the committee to participate in those shows, so that was being an action taken forward. So I'll follow that up tomorrow to make sure that the organisers of Armagh and Lurgan show have been contacted.
Just if I could come back to that, Lord Mayor, as of 10 minutes ago, I know the organisers of the shows have not been contacted. So I'm not happy with that. So I'd like an answer for that tomorrow, please.
Certainly, Councillor Savage, I'll make sure that's followed up in the morning.
I suppose, Lord Mayor, maybe just to clarify, it's a recommendation that's coming through from committee for ratification this evening. It's then subject to a call-in period. So I take the point, we will get in touch with the organisers, but it's working through that normal process, Lord Mayor.
Shows are fast approaching, and I would expect that communication be started with these shows.
Thank you very much, Councillor Savage. We all agreed? Thank you, members. Sorry, Alderman Wilson, are you looking in on?
Yeah, thanks, Lord Mayor. It's just, I keep meaning to do this every month and it slips my mind, but speaking of Food Heartland, that just put it back into my head again, and we're in EDR, and it was just maybe if, I think Sharon traditionally would have been dealing with this one, Sharon O'Gorman, and she may be able to provide me with an update, or albeit if not, Olga possibly could. It was just at the Palace in Armagh, the Moody Boar restaurant had closed some time ago, and I know there was a process being entered into to try and have that building put back into use, possibly or ideally as a catering location, just with the visitors coming to the Palace Park.
Alderman Wilson,
Sorry.
Alderman Wilson,
Yeah.
sorry for cutting across you there. We're moving into confidential business there. Do you want to bring it?
Yeah, no, I was just asking really,
confidential?
what stage that was at. That's really all, but I can wait the confidential if that's the case, no problem.
Do that. Thank you very much. Okay, members, moving on to 4.5, can I seek a proposal and seconder the minutes of Governance and Resource and Strategy Committee held on the 13th of April 2022 be taken as read and approved as correct record. Councillor McClelland, you're the chair of committee.
Yes, Lord Mayor, happy to propose. Thank you.
And Alderman Twyble.
Again, Lord Mayor, happy to second.
Thank you very much. We all agreed? Agreed. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 5, Chief Executive's report. We have 5.15.2 items for decision. 5.1 additional light-up request. I'm going to bring in Jonathan Hayes on this.
Thank you, Chair. Members, the report before you tonight is in relation to a light-up request which council officers have received in advance of the council meeting. The details in the report, and I'm happy to take any questions, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jonathan, I'm going to bring in Councillor McKinstry.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And 23-year-old primary school teacher Aisling Murphy was killed while out jogging on the banks of the Grand Canal in Tullamore, County Offaly on January 12th. And at the request of Councillor McAlinden, a book of condolence was opened by the Lord Mayor to show how we felt about this awful crime. And the deaths of these men has been equally abhorrent, this time not created because of their gender, but because of their sexuality. And I hope everyone in this chamber is equally appalled. So I would like to amend this decision or this request to say that instead of lighting the buildings up, that we, just as we did for Aisling Murphy, that we open a book of condolence to show how we feel about the deaths of these two men. So I would like to make that a proposal, please. Thank you.
Councillor, can you just clarify, was that book of condolences instead of?
Yes, Lord Mayor, that would be instead of lighting up the buildings. It just brings the two in line, because that's what we did to acknowledge the death of Aisling Murphy, the murder of Aisling Murphy. So I would like to keep it in line. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor McKinstry. You want to bring in Councillor Flaherty and then Councillor O'Neill?
I'll be very brief, Lord Mayor. I'm happy to second Councillor McKinstry's proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Flaherty. Councillor O'Neill, go ahead.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I just want to pass on my condolences to the family and friends of Michael Stay and Ian Moffat. Everyone in our community has the right to feel safe, and this act of hate will not be accepted. I wanted to support the proposal for the civic buildings to be lit up in the colours of the rainbow flag tonight, as a mark of respect to stand in solidarity with the LGBTQ plus community. But I'm not sure how that stands when there's a proposal on the table.
Yeah, thank you very much, Councillor. And Councillor Cosby.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And broadly, we're supportive of the proposal put forward by Councillor McKinstry this evening. But I do just want to make a point, and I think, whether other members agree with me or not is up to them. But I can think of individuals in our own community here in this borough within the last 12 months, 24 months, or for the term of this council for we've been in existence, who've been murdered. And let me be very clear. Murder is murder is murder. And it's wrong regardless of who has been murdered, whether it's a member of the LGBTQ plus community, whether that is somebody out on a night out with their friends in the town centre in Portadown. And I think we just need to be mindful that we don't create a system where certain, certain sections of our community are seen as being worthy of a book of condolence, and other people from our borough don't even get a mention in dispatches in this chamber. And we've got to be sensitive to that. We will support the proposal. And what happened to those two gentlemen was abhorrent, totally abhorrent. And with Aisling Murphy, totally abhorrent. But equally as abhorrent are the murders that have taken place across Portadown, including one of my neighbours, not 2 years ago. And there's been no book of condolence for him. And I don't think that's fair. And I don't think it's right, because he's got a family that grieves. Others across this borough do as well. And we need to be making sure that as a council, we are not attempting to political point score. We're not attempting to wave flags of whichever colour or whichever country they come from or not. We shouldn't do that. We should all adopt the position that murder is wrong. We stand against it, and we stand with the victims and their families who have lost loved ones. So, Lord Mayor, I'm sorry if that's a quite a solemn tone, but I think it needed to be said in this forum. But on the basis of what we have in front of us, we will support this, but we need to look at how we bring these things forward in future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cosby, for your sentiments there, and indeed My thoughts and prayers are with all of those that you have mentioned. I'm going to bring in Councillor Tennyson.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And on the 15th of April, vigils were held across the island in memory of Aidan Moffat and Michael Snee, two men who were brutally murdered in Sligo this month. And as members will be aware, the suspected motive for those killings was homophobia, a social disease that we as politicians and as civic leaders have a particular duty to root out of society. That hatred took the lives of two men, well regarded by their communities and adored by their families. And my thoughts, as all our thoughts are, I'm sure, are with those who knew and loved them. No one should be targeted in this way because of who they are or who they love, but far too many within our community are. The loss of Aidan and Michael also had a profound impact wider than just their family circle and those who knew them. It's had a profound impact on the LGBTQ+ community more broadly. Many LGBTQ+ people, including myself and many of my friends, I have to say, feel less safe, have deleted dating apps, aren't going out in the same way that they once did, and have retreated further into the closet because they feel unsafe just simply being themselves and living their lives. And many who have been victims of violent hate crimes themselves, of which far too many in our community have been re-traumatized by recent events. So that's why, Lord Mayor, it's so important that in addition to remembering the lives of Aidan and Michael and a book of condolences, I am absolutely supportive of opening, and Lord Mayor, I would ask you to do that. But it's also important that we send a very clear message of solidarity to the LGBTQ+ community in our borough and across these islands, in standing with them against the kind of hate that is faced. We must also ensure, Lord Mayor, and this is something that I feel incredibly passionate about, that our LGBTQ+ community is seen, is visible, and is accepted, because even when I was growing up, that wasn't the case. So that's why tonight, members, I'm asking sincerely that members think carefully about this, that the proposal per the original report is supported to light buildings. And in addition to that, I would also ask that the Lord Mayor open a book of condolences. This was requested on the 15th of April to happen alongside the vigils by both the Alliance Party grouping and, as I understand, also the Sinn Féin grouping. And I was incredibly disappointed, as many within the community were, that it wasn't possible for group leaders to agree it on that occasion. So I'm asking tonight, members, that we all think carefully about this and that we rectify that this evening. And I'd make that sincere plea to all of you as colleagues, first and foremost, but also as civic leaders and representatives of the wider community.
Thank you very much, Councillor Tennyson. I'm going to bring Councillor Lavery.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. It's simply to second Councillor Tennyson's proposal. Thank you.
Councillor Lavery, there was no proposal made.
I'm happy to make that.
Councillor McAlinden, go ahead.
Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. As my understanding, Councillor O'Neill proposed the light up the buildings and the book of condolences. Thank you.
Councillor O'Neill. Councillor O'Neill.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Can you clarify your proposal, please?
I was proposing what was on the papers tonight, but I'm happy for the Book of Condolences to be added into that proposal if that can be, which is basically what Councillor Tennyson was saying.
Okay. There's Councillor Tennyson, are you seconding?
Yeah, I'm more than
Councillor
happy,
O'Neill's?
Lord Mayor, to second Councillor O'Neill's proposal, yeah.
Okay. Councillor Baxter, go ahead.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And can I just make this point? And I wasn't going to speak on this at all. I had no intention of speaking. But I'm actually quite saddened this evening that an issue like this is being politicised again. I think Councillor McKinstry put a lot of thought into what she had put in the minutes, and I've seen it coming up in a note earlier. This is what we done previously for the lady who was murdered, Aisling Murphy. So instead of tonight, the message coming out from this chamber that we stand with those people, those two guys who were abhorrently murdered, the message coming out tonight is that it was pushed to a vote on how we sympathise with those folks. And given that Councillor McKinstry came in and spoke first and put the thought into it and put the note in the paper, I think for people not to just wheel in behind that and show our support and send our condolences to those families, I think it's a shame in this council. And again, it comes from the same side as it does nearly every time when it's a row around lighting up buildings and flying flags. It doesn't come from where the media maybe report it comes from. It doesn't come from the unionist benches. It comes from the Alliance benches. And I think that's shameful. And that's the message that's going to go out of this chamber tonight. The message isn't going to be that our sympathies are with the apparent murder of those two gentlemen in Sligo. I just wanted to make that point, Lord Mayor. I had no intention to speak, but I feel quite strongly about it, actually. And we'll see what the headlines will be. And they'll not be complimentary, and again, will be seen as being divisive. And the divisive didn't come from anyone within this chamber tonight.
Thank you, Councillor Baxter. Councillor Duffy.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Well, we have an opportunity here to send the right message, and it's simple, Lord Mayor. The UUP just withdraw their motion or their proposal, because a book of condolences and light up the lights is in the proposal from Councillor O'Neill. So if the UUP just withdraw their proposal, says a positive message will be sent out right across the community. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
And Councillor Lavery.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I'm going to say a couple of things here, but I'm going to first of all refer to Councillor Baxter's comments about Alliance being divisive. It's fairly outrageous, and that Councillor Baxter would make that comment. And I think he probably should pay, or listen to the words of the only LGBT member of this council. When Councillor Tennyson made his contribution earlier on this meeting about how we can show solidarity as a borough with the LGBT community by showing that they are respected and loved in light of this incident in Sligo. In terms of the process of this, as was mentioned, there was I think a request put in from Sinn Féin to light the buildings up. It is common that we do these lighting of buildings, and I think, and I can't recall, it might have been Councillor Michael who put that request in for a specific date, which was the same date as all the other councils did in Ireland to show collective solidarity. As you're aware, Lord Mayor, the process which would happen is that would go to party group leaders, and if it's unanimously agreed, then it simply happens. It doesn't need to come to council, which is the case and has been spoken to before. The reason the building wasn't lit up is because one of those unionist group leaders said no, that they opposed this. That's not unacceptable. That's why we're here tonight with an additional light-up request being brought to this council chamber. I agree we should all show solidarity, united solidarity on this issue. Councillor O'Neill's proposal, seconded by Councillor Tennyson, does include the Book of Condolence, and I think we all support that. But I hope that we would all support the lighting request, and it seems that some people don't. I hope that it won't come to a vote. I hope that we can show unity on this issue by backing the proposal from Councillor O'Neill and Councillor Thompson to both light up the buildings in solidarity with the LGBT community and open the Book of Condolences for those gentlemen's families. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor, and I'm going to bring in Councillor McKinstry to wrap up.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, for letting me in again. Thank you. I would like to push ahead to a vote on my proposal. I think regardless of the motivation behind the attacks, they are unacceptable and condemned by wider society. As Councillor Tennyson knows, there are members of my immediate family that are members of the LGBTQ plus community, and Councillor Tennyson has misrepresented me several times already on social media regarding these issues, and has failed to communicate with me regarding these issues in the past as well, whenever I have reached out to try and reach a compromise with him. This was, as Councillor Baxter said, I thought long and hard about this, and I feel that these men's death, along with Aisling Murphy's death, they were both perpetrated for a very specific reason, and I think we have to be equally measured in our response to them. So my motivation for bringing this forward in response was to keep it the same, to open the Book of Condolence, to have something physical to hand over to the families of these men who were murdered in such a brutal way, and that we could actually put into words how we feel about what happened to them. So I would like to keep my request as it is, or my proposal as it is, that we open a Book of Condolence and send it to the families of the men who were brutally murdered. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor McKinstry, and for taking your proposal first, that we open a Book of Condolences, and the voting is open. Alderman Anderson, yes, no, abstain.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Baxter, yes, no, abstain.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Barry.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Alderman Burns.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Cosby.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Which Cosby? Councillor Fergal Donnelly. Councillor Donnelly. Councillor Duffy.
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Flaherty.
Have I done something? Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord Mayor. Yes, Lord. I think I have that.
Councillor Greenfield.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Hockey. Councillor Hockey. Councillor Hockian. Alderman Kennedy. Go again, Alderman.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Larkin.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Lavery.
No.
Councillor Macaulay. Councillor McCauley? Councillor Michael? Councillor Michael Linden?
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor McClelland?
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor McGowan?
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Michael Roth?
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor McKinstry?
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor McNally? Councillor McNeil? Councillor McNeil? Alderman Mitri?
Mayor.
Say again.
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Nelson? Councillor Nicholson?
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor O'Hanlon? Councillor O'Neill?
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Park?
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Pope?
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Kevin Savage? Councillor Kyle Savage?
Yes. Yes, Lord Mayor.
Alderman Spears?
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Tennyson?
No.
Councillor Tinsley?
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Toman?
No, Lord Mayor.
Alderman Twyble?
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Councillor Wilson?
Yes, Lord Mayor.
Deputy Lord Mayor?
No, Mayor.
Lord Mayor, yes. Councillor Fergal Donnelly?
No, Lord Mayor.
Councillor McNeil? Thank you, members. It's the voting now closed. Just bear with me to count them up. Thank you. Thank you, members. And in support of the motion is 22 yes and 10 no. I will open up a Book of Condolences. Alderman Spears.
Lord Mayor, I didn't intend to speak on this matter, but at the last meeting, I did speak at some length as regards the abuse of a system that we have in place. And that would point to the fact that the system obviously is flawed and hence not working. And I feel that issues of this nature are occupying an immense amount of time and causing an amount of dissension within council and disruption of council business, not to the benefit of the wider community or the entire community. And I feel that it needs to have a review of how we deal with these matters. The building been lit up so often. I guess there are relatively few people now even know what the building is lit up for on a given day. It has been lit up for so many events, charities and whatever. I have no great problem with that at all, but I think we do need to review the process of how we move forward, not only in relation to lighting up a building or indeed how we recognise tragedy within the borough or tragedy outside the borough. Let that be on the UK mainland, let that be in the Republic of Ireland, or indeed let that be anywhere else in Northern Ireland. It is important that we have a system in place that is appropriate and something that is reasonable, but not a system whereby is abused and used in a mechanism of political divisiveness that we have seen quite a lot of. And it was interesting to see Councillor Tennyson here tonight. Now, he hasn't been here that much of late, but obviously he has came along tonight and again was involved in quite a sensitive and divisive, potentially divisive issue. And I think that I would ask that council officers have prepared some paper to go to governance committee as to how we in future have a system that is foolproof and allows council to operate in a sensible manner and recognise either achievement or tragedy right across the area that I've just referred to, and I would ask officers to do that. And I think in that context, Councillor Baxter and indeed Councillor Crosby spoke on a similar vein. And I think in all honesty, the sooner we do that, the sooner we will have the emergence of some degree of semblance of common sense coming from these meetings. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Spears. Going to bring in Alderman Twybull and then Councillor Tennyson.
Well, Lord Mayor, I didn't expect Alderman Spears to raise this tonight, but I would like to endorse and support what he has said. I think it's been extremely sad that we've had this conversation and the dissension over the death of two people. And I think it's very sad that this will reach the headlines in the papers or whatever, and it will not bring this council into any sense of respect, but into disrespect. And I think that works in two ways in our community. I think it's sad that we've had this discussion over the death, tragic death of two people. And we've had it before. And I think it is important that we look at the whole process in a sensible, respectful manner and produce something that enables us to avoid such a conversation we have just had this evening. in the circumstances. So I fully support Alderman Spears in his suggestion.
Thank you very much, Alderman Twyborn, and as usual, words of wisdom from yourself, Councillor Tennyson.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and I didn't intend to speak again on this matter, to be honest, but I've been addressed numerous times now this evening. I'm at a bit of a loss for words, Lord Mayor, to be honest. First of all, the proposal on the table was not in any way politically divisive. It simply wasn't. The dissension from what was outlined in the report didn't come from me, nor was I actually particularly critical of anybody else in this chamber. I simply set out why, as a member of the LGBTQ plus community myself, it is so important that we take small but significant gestures like this forward to ensure visibility and to send a very clear message that political representatives stand with the community in these circumstances. I'm a little bit upset and personally hurt by the way in which I seem to have been singled out by other members. I know there's an election next week, but I think this is far more fundamental and important than that. And I would have hoped that the one LGBTQ plus representative on this council, one of very few across Northern Ireland, would maybe have been heard a little bit more by some of the other members of this chamber on an issue that is of such fundamental importance to our LGBT community. I think I've actually been misrepresented by some members this evening, and I've been singled out in a way that I think is deeply unfair and hurtful, particularly given the sensitivities around this issue. So yeah, Lord Mayor, really just to put on record my disappointment, but to be absolutely clear, what was proposed was not in any way divisive whatsoever. And this has been done right across the board. And it's really regrettable that we're here again and there seems to be another kind of party political motivated attack on me. Why, I'm not sure, but we are where we are. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Tennyson. Moving on to 5.2, the Nilgos divestment strategy. I'm going to bring in Sean O'Gorman, Strategic Director, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and good evening, members. Members will be aware from the February Council meeting that a presentation was made by representatives from Nilgos on their disinvestment strategy, and following that there was further discussion at the April's Environmental Services Committee, where it was requested that correspondence be prepared for consideration by the Council at the end of April. Members, attached at Appendix 1 is the draft correspondence which reflects the comments that were made at the Environmental Services Committee on this matter, and members are requested to approve the draft correspondence attached at Appendix 1.
Thank you very much, Sean. I'm going to bring in Councillor Baxter, then Councillor Nicholson.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and we had a discussion on it, I think, and any other business at the last committee. I thank the Chairman for letting me bring it in on the night, and indeed when I sent over the proposed words for the letter. I'm glad to see it is reflected in the letter that's going tonight, if it's agreed by Council. Not only that, but the comments on the night. So I think, look, it was all said at committee and it's in the report, so I'm very happy just to propose the content of the letter and propose that we get it off to Nilgos just as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Baxter. I'm going to bring in Councillor Nicholson.
Yeah, thanks, Lord Mayor. And as Councillor Baxter has said, that there was a good discussion and a very good presentation on the night, and on this additional bit of administration that was required or suggested to go to Nilgos. I'm happy to second this, Chair, because I do think this is a very important item that we're dealing with currently within Council. So, look, I'm happy to second it, Lord Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, members. Proposal by, go ahead, Councillor Lavery.
Yeah, just express my own support and party support for this divestment proposal. Again, I did tune into the Environmental Committee, as mentioned, to hear the speech from, I believe it was the Warringstown Environment Group, give us very strong, discussion and arguments why divestment should be continued. And again, the comments from Nilgos, certainly I welcome the contents of the letter, and again would support it. And indeed, it's something that we should support it years ago, but good that it's finally getting there, and hopefully this will act as a further catalyst for Nilgos to do a full divestment of their investment portfolio. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. We proposal by Councillor Baxter, second by Councillor Nicholson. We all agreed? Agreed. Thank you very much, members. Moving on to agenda item 6, schedule of correspondence. 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3. Looking comments or response. The floor is open, members. Councillor Larkin.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And it's just on item 6.1. I suppose before we begin, I do have a declaration of interest as outlined in private confidential item that we're speaking on later on. It's in relation to SRC. So I would just ask in relation to this correspondence, the two maps, the maps attached to this correspondence from DFI and the map that we've been furnished with in relation to the item in confidential don't seem to match up. And I would ask that we look into that just to see what, because obviously there's two paths here being abandoned, with a new path to be adopted and a new path to be adopted as an alternative route. But the map that we have in confidential doesn't match with this. So I would ask that we note that and we make that known to DFI if possible. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor. Duly noted. We will act on that. Councillor Duffy.
Yes, thank you, Lord Mayor. On it's on 6.6, the Park Road, Open Street, red lines that looking to remove the yellow lines. Now, the one down Park Road, I would just really look clarity of road service that if they remove them parking bays, that they are going to install the Pelican Crossing that the residents down that area have been looking this long time. Because if they remove them parking bays there's nothing to slow cars down coming around that corner, and there will be a lot more fatalities as there's been one in the past there, and just looking more clarity from them. And the ones on the other side in the open street are in the main open street. This went through council over a year ago that they were going to actually do lanes down that side, and they haven't even got lanes there that they're looking to remove.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy, and we'll write off to DFA regarding that query. Going to bring in Alderman Anderson, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Can I refer to 6.7, the response from DFI Southern Division, and it's regarding gritting of the rural roads, maintenance of road verges on the 20-mile speed limit around the schools. I'd have to say I'm totally disappointed that we have got a response, and most of the content of the reply is basically something that has been reiterated to us for years upon years. It's something that we all know, and the reason the letter was being sent off was to give consideration that it's something would be done. We are left, we've got the response the Minister has handed on to Mark McPeak, the Divisional Roads Manager, to send us this sort of, as a standard reply. I would say it's going everywhere. It's not hard to put together till we come to the last few lines that the Minister respectfully declines our request to meet. I think that I would make a proposal here that we write back to the Minister and request that a meeting is granted and that we look at the criteria that is already set. We have rural roads on Fergus, which is a complete disaster right around this borough. The rural roads, we can't even get potholes or nothing fixed. And I think that the rural dwellers deserve to be treated in a proper manner. If they're having difficulties with budgets or whatever, maybe they could say that, but to come up with a criteria that is delivering not only second-class roads, let's put it like third-class roads. They're not even roads, not just dirt tracks on some occasions. So I would make a proposal here tonight that we again write to the Minister requesting that she reconsiders her decision not to meet, and also that consideration be given to changing the criteria relating to gritting of the rural roads and road verges and whatever. We did make some headway on the 20-mile speed limit. They're doing tranches at our schools, so hopefully eventually we would reach right to include all our schools. But I would just make that proposal and hope someone would second that we don't take this response line down. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Anderson. You should see my road there's a pothole, but it's actually a swimming pool. Especially whenever I get called out about their potholes in their rural roads. I'm going to bring in Councillor McClelland.
Yes, Lord Mayor, thank you for bringing me in on this, and it's perhaps no surprise that I concur completely with what my colleague Alderman Anderson has said in terms of making his proposal. And so I very, very readily second the proposal. And just, if I may make a couple of comments, it's all very well for the Minister to hide behind operational, but really it's her and her department centrally that can change this criteria. And, the letter also provides you with assurances. Quite frankly, this reply provides my constituents in rural Lagan River with little or no assurance of any shape, form or description. So, Lord Mayor, very happy to second my colleague's proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Lavery.
Sorry, Lord Mayor, I was trying to find my mute button there. Just in relation to items 6.8 and 6.9, the proposed 30-mile-an-hour speed limit for Darrymore Village near Gully's Gate, and then the extended 30-mile speed limit along St. Francis Street. Certainly, this would be welcomed by many residents of those areas. And I think if you're willing, Lord Mayor, that propose we write as a council, supporting these new speed limits. And I know in their letter it says that they're hoping to implement them in due course. But just if we could write a correspondence to them, asking them to do it as speedily as possible, because there are a number of speeding issues in those two locations. So it's certainly appropriate that the EFI road should try to get them laid down as soon as possible, hopefully within 2022. So with your willingness, Lord Mayor, we send that correspondence to the EFI roads relating to those two speed limit proposals. Thank you.
No problem. Send off letter there. Councillor Nicholson.
Yeah, thank you, Lord Mayor. And there's a couple of items. I suppose the first one is 6.4, and it's sort of the notice of motion that's come from Newry Morning Down Council, and I suppose it does say that they ask us to join them to write to the Chancellor of the Exchequer. And Lord Mayor, as you know, I tasked you to write to the Minister. Would it be awful of me to task you or the Chief Executive to write to the Chancellor in support with Newry Morning Down in relation to this, the energy costs? I think we can't underestimate or the problems out there with the sheer cost of energy and the people that are affected, and especially the working poor, which have been kind of forgotten about in the context of any support. But look, I don't know, Lord Mayor, whether or not, I noticed there in a number of notice of motion, there's a request from us to write and support or whatever, but there was two there I'd like to support would be the notice of motion, the energy cost, and the other one, the recruiting of staff, again, in economic development. We've been discussing this pretty much every month, and I hear it pretty much day and daily from businesses, be they tourism, be they hospitality, be they whatever, the difficulty of getting staff. And I think there does need to be something done. So I would propose, Lord Mayor, that we do, in particular those two notice of motions, we do join in with Newry Morning and for Melanoma and sort of weigh in our support to them. Thanks, Lord Mayor.
No problem. Send them letters off. Might as well when the paying's going. Alderman Spears.
Lord Mayor, I just want to make a comment. I've heard in the past reference made to various parts of this council area, various DEAs and electoral areas. And I did make a comment here on one occasion about maybe an imbalance of activity by road service across the borough. And I have done some monitoring of that. And I'd be interested in other members' views. When we get out a list of road closures from council staff, Patricia comes out usually quite regularly. I have tried to establish where most of those road closures are and what they're about. And I would ask members to reflect on that. The percentage of those that actually are in my DEA are very, very, very small. And indeed, if you look at other DEAs, you'll find out they are a plethora of them daily or weekly. And I just wonder, is the administration of public money in terms of roads, is it being fairly allocated across this borough? For I think if you look at the road closures that have happened within the last 2-3 months, you will find a very substantial imbalance of where the road closures were taking place. And I can't comment on the detail of why roads were closed, why traffic was diverted to allow work to happen. But if I'd ask members to have a look at the history, and I think when you do, you'll establish that there is some inequity as regards which areas of this council is getting money spent in. And I'm not making an allegation, I'm making a point, and I think members should have some reflection on it. And maybe when they do, they will try and recognize that there's a lot more work maybe happening in their area than there is in other areas. And the DEA that I represent is certainly rarely mentioned. I'll just make that point. And I have spoken to council staff here, and some of them are equally aware as to the amount that has in some DEAs, the road closures for road works, road surfacing, road gullies, you name it. And it doesn't happen frequently in other parts of this area. That's all the point I want to make. So I'm not sure whether the minister has any control over that or not, but it's certainly, it's quite illuminating when you look at the list of road closures and where they are. And I think when members maybe reflect on that, they will maybe recognise that there's a lot more work happening in their area than there is in the rest of our areas. Thank you, Chair. Lord Mayor.
You wouldn't be suggesting about the forgotten area there, Alderman, no? We're going to bring in Councillor Savage.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And just to carry on the line of conversation that we're having here tonight about rural roads and gritting and one thing and another. And I suppose it does bring to the fore how much need there is within the Lagan River area. The way it has been forgotten about over the number of years, where verges are falling in, where buses are tipping over hedges, not because of the grass verges, and the way it has been neglected. And I'm very disappointed that the Minister isn't coming here to answer these questions directly from the locally elected representatives, because I can assure members there are many roads within the Lagan River area, the most rural part of this council, that has been neglected and forgotten about for many years by this council. But I can assure the present members that we will continue to fight for the Lagan River area in every way possible, that we will do it and we will continue to raise. But it just highlights the need that there is within the Lagan River area, how it has been forgotten and neglected for years. But we will continue to fight for our beloved Lagan River.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Cosby, go ahead.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I wasn't going to say anything, and maybe some of my colleagues might have a stern look on their faces when they're going to say what I'm going to say here. But to be honest, I'm a bit fed up with Dromore being called the forgotten area, because it wasn't that long ago we spent over £3 million on their community facility, leisure centre, bowling alley, and the hundreds of £1,000s that's been spent in the park in Dromore. So that was very clearly DUP delivery. I'm happy to dig the minutes out for the member just to say that and to prove that for sure. But at the same time, we all have challenges within our constituencies. We all have areas and issues we would like to get resolved. We all have rural swathes within our constituencies. And I could take you to the Darley Road and you want to see it, or I could take you to Tamnamoor or Black Island or Derryhirk or anywhere else around there and see the work and effort that we all have got to put in. To say and continually say that it's forgotten area just for a wee headline and a wee quick boost is unfair.
Thank you for that input, Councillor Cosby. And just sort of from your own perspective, Alderman Anderson, when if you're happy enough with this insert about the inviting the minister or the new minister, perhaps regarding the 20-mile-an-hour speed limits around schools, I've been lobbying a long time for the rollout right across all the schools where there is an impact on them, and been successful in several of them. And that's why there was a major rollout. My main concern currently is at the Ballydown Primary School. I have a petition of hundreds and hundreds of signatories on it. Just because there's a main road that goes past the side of it, when you have a wee look at other places that have had 20-mile-an-hour zones in place, and it doesn't reciprocate right across. The balance of the information that they've used is completely skewed in my views. But if we could add that into it, that we have concerns and we want to present the minister or the new minister with a petition regarding this, and we want to see a speedy rollout of tranche 2 and whatever tranches are left. There's no dates on the letter that has came from the minister's office, which is particularly depressing. But Alderman Anderson, if you're happy enough to include that, we will get that letter away as soon as possible. I'm going to bring you back in, Alderman Anderson. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and I totally agree with your comments. But at least we're making maybe some movement regarding the schools and the 20-mile-an-hour limit. I'm really looking at this reply, and it really, to me, is to send that to our council or any council to the elected representatives, really what it's saying is there's the criteria, tough, that's the way it is, and it's not going to change. I think this has been going on for too long regarding the gritting of roads and many other issues regarding the rural communities. I think they deserve better, and I think that we need to get the minister's ear to this. If not, we need to get someone's ear about the possibility of changing criteria in relation to roads. We have now a lot of with school buses and things like that. There's roads sitting for years that we can't get gritted. We get wee stockpiles of grit, which are basically just to keep one individual at any one time being able to maybe to move on slightly. But this is not about this. This is about keeping our roads safe, keeping our children safe in buses and what like. And I think there has to be conversation, and we just can't continue to hide behind a criteria which I think is well out of date. Needs changing, and I'd hope the minister would take that on board. And I appreciate for the efforts here tonight, and hopefully that letter will go off and we'll see what the next response is. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Henderson. And Councillor McAlinden, please.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And yes, look, I've listened to all the comments about the minister and her faults and this, that, and the other. Yeah, look, I live in a rural area. She's a colleague of mine, and I can rest assured there's no favouritism shown here. And we're all complaining about our roads. Minister Mullen has only been in the position this last 2 years, and it's an indictment on our previous ministers who held this position and the state of the roads. So thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. No more hands up. Move on to agenda item 7, schedule of documents requiring corporate seal. Can I seek a proposer and seconder to agree to sign and seal all the aforementioned documents of 7.1 and 7.2, proposed by Alderman Kennedy. Anybody want to second it? Second by Alderman Spears. Thank you very much, members. Okay, members, confidential business. I seek a proposer and seconder to go into committee for consideration of confidential items of business. Proposed by Councillor Nicholson, seconded by Councillor Tinsley. We're all agreed. Members and listeners to the audio feed in accordance with Schedule 6 of the Local Government Act. We will now be moving into confidential session of the Council. This means that we are turning off the public audio feed of the meeting. This will be returned when the meeting is restarted. Can I ask ACT officers to please turn off the audio feed and confirm the confidential section of this meeting can proceed. Thank you very much. Agenda item 10, any other relevant business? We have 2, Councillor Nicholson, regarding the recent announcement about Bushmere. Go ahead, Councillor Nicholson.
Yeah, thanks, Lord Mayor. And obviously, all us members in the chamber and on Zoom tonight, I'm sure we're aware of the recent news that the Myallen Properties Limited went into administration, and they're the owners of, obviously, as you said, Lord Mayor, Rushmere, Craigavon, and McGowan West, which are 2 quite large, not quite large, they're 2 very large retail facilities within our borough. The administration company is Grant Thornton, and thankfully there's some good news is that they're going to continue in business and run as normal. However, I'm sure members are all aware of Peter and John Robinson, who are part of that Myallen group, and have been a very sort of they've been the originators, is right, of the group, and they've been friends of this council for many years now, and have attended various trade shows and other business opportunities with us. So I suppose really my ask tonight, Lord Mayor, is that the Chief Executive and yourself engage with them, their company, and to sort of see what council can do, if anything, in this difficult time, and offer our support in whatever we can do, and obviously engage with Grant Thornton to ensure that the 2 facilities continue to run as normal within the borough, and also, deliver on the recent announcements of the Primark store and the new Itao or something. I think it's an Asian restaurant that's supposed to be coming to Craigavon, and that is my simple ask, Lord Mayor. So it's just a matter that our Chief Executive can engage, because again, I know he's got a very strong relationship with the Robinsons, and I think it would be fitting if we as a council would, reach out to them in their time of need. So thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Nicholson. Indeed, the ball's already in motion, so we will keep the support going, and we'll keep you updated. And Councillor McLeod, rollout of boundary signage.
Yes, Lord Mayor, and I suppose it'll come as no surprise that I wish to bring this up, but thankfully we appear to be moving to a scenario where we are having a breakthrough, and that we might have this issue put to bed, as it were, very soon. And it's just to offer congratulations and thanks to council officers and also DFI roads, in that it was very heartening at the last governance meeting to hear that of the 29 entrance locations into our borough, that we now have agreement on all health and safety issues, everything, and on 20 of these 29 sites. So we just have another 9 to go, and indeed we have an assurance, I believe, and talking to officers earlier, that we have assurances from DFI that within this next few days that the other 9 will be brought to a completion. So essentially we will be good to go in terms of the procurement, in terms of ordering the signage and then rolling it out. So I think that this is a good news story, Lord Mayor, and everyone is to be congratulated. And Lord Mayor, I'll finish with this, and as members know, I'm very rarely, sort of parochial, but it would be good perhaps that maybe my own Lagan River DEA could be ruled out early. And I'm thinking in terms of the A1 dual carriageway, which is an important route on this island. So I'll not ask for an answer from Jonathan or from officers on that this evening. But anyway, we live in hope. But thank you to all involved.
Thank you, Councillor McClellan. Let's see Councillor Cosby shaking his head saying no. Thank you very much, members, for your attention tonight. I wish you well and safe home, and who knows, I'll maybe see us next month. Thank you. Bye-bye.